Call to order this public hearing. Roll call, please.
Yep. Mark Porter.
Here.
Ty Ward.
Here.
Christy Kessel.
Here.
Megan Dowd Robbins.
Here.
Mark Thornton.
Here.
Deborah Williamson. Absent. Dave Eastburn.
Here.
All right. This public hearing is to. This is the time or place for anyone to speak for or against the transfer of the Homeschool Assistance Fund transfer in the amount of $54,666.05. These funds were unexpended and unobligated from the Homeschool Assistance Program.
No written comments.
No written comments. No one here to speak. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Porter and Christy. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:31 p.m. Okay. One moment. All right. I'll call to order our regular board meeting. It's 6:31 p.m. Monday, September 15th. The regular board meeting of the Board of Directors of the Fairfield Community School District is to be held at 6:30 p.m. on the third Monday of each month. The meeting is open to the public and the public is encouraged to attend. Time is provided in the meeting for public input. The mission of the Fairfield Community School Board of Directors is: we empower all students to achieve their highest potential through strong relationships, collaboration, and accountability. The vision of the Fairfield Community School Board of Directors is a destination district where we all belong, learn, and grow. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yep. Mark Porter.
Here.
Ty Ward.
Here.
Christy Kessel.
Here.
Megan Dowd Robbins.
Here.
Mark Thornton.
Here.
Deborah Williamson. Absent. Dave Eastburn.
Here.
All right, so I have one perfection to the agenda that I received to add the homeschool assistant, the addition of the homeschool assistance transfer to the Flex Fund resolution for 7.8. Is that the only one? Good.
So,
That's the only one. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the addition, the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Christy and Dave, all in favor?
Aye.
Agenda approved. All right, we get to move into our focus on learning, which is exciting tonight. We have all the building principals here, and we'll be hearing their plan on the page. I don't know who, I guess we'll have Pence up first, or Washington?
yes.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for letting me come and share a little bit. We've had a really good start to our school year, and I just want to say thank you for welcoming me back home and being at Washington. It's been a great start. To begin our plan on a page, this was something that I asked Mr. Weigel for a little bit of time because I really felt like I wanted to really get to know our staff, really get to know the data, where we are instructionally, and then together collaboratively make that plan on a page with my staff. The plan is really based first on creating that culture of collaboration. We have to have that so that we can better serve our students and follow our goals and initiatives for the year. The three goals I have are really based around growing our math and reading scores, as well as our social emotional well-being and making sure that every student feels connected within the building. I know that it's listed on how we're going to measure those things, so some of the things I just wanted to just quickly talk about is how our teachers are going to be responding to our measurements. And we're going to be using a lot of targeted instruction based off of student deficit. We'll be doing a lot of reteaching. We'll be using research-based strategies to really support the students with their needs. And then teachers will be doing a check-in every single morning, making sure that our students feel connected, that they have a valued adult that loves and cares about them, and we hope that every child hears their name and is welcomed upon entering our school. Some of the other things that I wanted to talk a little bit about too for my plan is based on CKLA. That is the adopted curriculum that we have at Washington, and we're in year 3 of that implementation. Our teachers are working really hard on trying to balance the needs of our students, using data to guide their instruction, but then also following that research-based program so that our kids can get some really highly effective instruction each day. The word fidelity does come up in my plan, and I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about that. Fidelity comes up because this program was a research-based program based off the science of reading that was endorsed by the state. And our team was talking about the importance of ensuring that we trust that scope and sequence as it was written. Oftentimes programs, when we skip things throughout a curriculum program, then we're missing key vocabulary or ideas, and those skills are based on what we teach. And so we don't want to see missing gaps. And so we're really trying to teach it as the way it was written, and then from there really try to evaluate, are there holes and where are those gaps, and then we can fully address it. So that word came up there within my plan, and again, we just didn't want to see too many gaps there. So we're trying to follow it with fidelity this year. With that though in mind, I know our admin team and Zach and I talked a lot about finding a cohesive ELA plan for the district. And so we are really committed to looking at our data, finding where the deficits are, and then working together to really close that gap so we have a cohesive plan for kindergarten through 8th grade. I know that we're really eager to collaborate on that plan throughout the year, and we'll keep you updated on that. And then a lot of our CLT work that's on Fridays will really be built on addressing what students' needs, both their strengths, their weaknesses, and how we can cohesively make each grade level transition a little smoother from building to building. So, you guys have any questions about that? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vince? Yeah.
So I like the numbers, so take one, pass it around. And take one, pass it around. So at Pence, my first year coming in here, we had to put a school improvement plan together. So my plan on the page started as a school improvement plan. It's something that we've continued every year. And really bringing it to light this past year was looking at our WIGs, our wildly important goals. And that really is what drives our plan on the page. Last year, our WIGs, we were climbing the mountain together. And if you were able to see that, and I've highlighted in yellow the data that you will see for 2nd grade, the students had made 100% growth in reading and in math, in all 3 of the tests that we do with fast testing. CBMR, that had 100% growth for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade as well. So those are the big pieces that we want to continue on for this year with 100% growth, to be able to have all students be able to have the 100% growth. The other piece of that is when we start looking at the 3rd one, that's really about the family engagement, but there's another component that we added into that. The MRA is a measurable results assessment that we give out at the end of the school year to parents, students, and to staff. And really at the end of it, we start talking about the perception that families have, the perceptions that students have, and the perceptions that our staff have. The perception that really kind of came to light was the engagement piece, and it had to do that parents don't want to get engaged. Maybe that's what the survey said. But on the parent side, it says, I don't know, I'll put it in my own words. I'm not sure what opportunities are there for me to come into the classroom. So then it's like, okay, we need to do something. So aside from having those family engagement nights, one of the WIGs that we do have is that each trimester, each grade level will invite parents to come in. So that could mean that they're coming in for like the morning meetings, that could mean they're coming in for like a reading routine, a math routine, whatever. But that we have like an invited time for families to come in. I think COVID happened and we all of a sudden we didn't do anything, and now it's like, yeah, we used to do those kinds of things. People used to come in. But that's a really big piece, because that's the piece where you want to be like, I want you to come in our door. I want you to see what's going on. So as you come into Pence, our 3 main goals that we do have are up on the wall when you come into the main hallway. And really what we're going to be having students do is we're rolling out the red carpet, and we want them to go up the aisle to the stage and reaching 100% growth in all 3 of those areas. But furthermore, one of the pieces that we are doing within each of the grade levels is we have PIGS, pretty important goals, which is all about proficiency. And so those posters are in each of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade hallways. And again, that has to do about the FAST testing. Just so we can keep our eye on that proficiency, because that's the piece where I know we talk about growth because we want to have everybody to be able to have that growth, but we need to be able to see that proficiency marker go up as well. And so it's a big piece for us this year, and it's a big undertaking. I have a great team, a leadership team, that we kind of are keeping our fingers on this at all times. And what are we doing each week, and how are we going to be responding? When I started talking about the plan on the page, when we started looking at the math part of it, we've added about 20 to 30 minutes of fluency work for math within the classroom, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The research is coming back, and it's kind of this piece, like the pendulum is swinging. You know, kids should know these facts. Well, if we don't teach the facts, how are they going to know these facts? And so really working on that fluency piece. And already within the 4th grade, I was up there today covering a class, and just the amount of automaticity that kids are having. Because, you know, we have a phone, we have a calculator, why would I need to know these facts? But that helps you as you continue to grow within your math. The other pieces with the reading that we're really kind of running into is the piece of thinking about, like, how do we build that foundation with the decoding and the fluency? And we've been really working with our reading consultant and looking at the work of, like, closing the gap quicker through Stoller's work, and thinking about, like, how we group our kids and how are they going to be getting the same dose of something the same throughout the day by the same teacher, and how we can make that work. So logistics, but it makes sense. It's just a lot to wrap our heads around. But as a whole, it's exciting. So any questions as I ramble? Because Zach gave me 2 minutes, and I know over 2 minutes. But I had to put a lot of stuff in there.
Just one quick question.
Yeah.
You brought it up last year in terms of how you were grouping for math, and maybe it was 3rd grade. I can't remember. You were doing
Yeah.
something a little different. Is that part of the plan this year too, to group?
So what we're looking at is some grouping that would happen during that skills time, especially. That's a big piece, because some of the work that we work through is the basic math facts. I'm not going to tell you the name of the books that we've gone through PD with the math with Gary Jarms, but a lot of it has to do with addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. And what we're really finding right now, as we kind of dig deep into that data, is really working on the addition and subtraction just to become automatic on it. That's really a big piece right now. So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, guys. Oh, and this is what we took out to businesses to kind of let them know what our goals were. Sorry, 1 minute. PINS is actually going to be going for Lighthouse status through Leader and Me, and one of those pieces is be able to show our commitment out to the community. So this went out to the community for them to be a part of our journey, to follow us, and if they wanted to partner up with our school. So it's a pretty exciting time for us to hopefully potentially get Lighthouse status.
Did you get good feedback?
Amazing feedback.
Okay.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
So the campus, the time was great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. So for the middle school, we are really continuing with those, board level down goals of 100% growth on reading and math, 100% connectedness for our first 2 goals. And so for middle school, that first one of 100% growth for students, our teachers have been doing an amazing job of tracking our kiddos, whether they're growing or not. And so something that I thought about this year that I really wanted to focus on was, how are our students tracking whether they're growing or not? How did they know, if they are on target to make that grow throughout the year? And so one major thing that we'll be doing this year is students will be goal setting before and after each round of testing. So many of you have middle schoolers, we are in the thick of MAP testing right now. And so as we're finishing that up, students will be graphing their progress consistently through our 4 grade levels. And then when we come to our next round of testing in the winter, they'll be able to look at that and set a goal for themselves. Again, a lot of our teachers have done that really informally over the last couple of years, and so now we'll make that consistent across the board, so our students are looking at, here's where I am right now, and I know that I can grow from there, whether I'm proficient or not. That way they know what is a reasonable goal for themselves. Another thing that we'll be starting this year is students will set WIGs for themselves, or wildly important goals, for their academic progress. Something we are seeing as our kiddos come out of that COVID era is not a lot of focus on timeliness with their work, late work, missing work. Grades are just, students aren't motivated by grades like we were when we were in school. And so just having, again, our students look at where am I at right now and what can I set a goal on to make sure I'm growing and moving and doing the things that I need to do at school in order to be successful. So whether that be reducing their number of missing assignments, whether that be increasing their grades or maintaining grades to a certain place, they'll be setting goals around that and have an accountability partner to check in with, just like we do as staff through Leader in Me. Our student connectedness is the next one, and staff connectedness. We want 100% of our people to feel like they are connected at school, at the middle school and within the district as a whole. So one thing that we're going to kick off here in a couple of weeks is during our Trojan time, we are going to start what's called Trust Huddles, which is a curriculum through Leader in Me that our Leader in Me coach shared with me that's totally student-led. So our students for, times in our Trojan times, that in those pockets, will be leading this curriculum during a time where they're able to really connect with one another, be the leaders in their classroom, and have that voice within our Trojan time where they're able to check in with their peers and have that student-to-student connectedness based on feedback that we got from the MRA, or the Measurable Results Assessment that Angela talked about. So based on that, we're looking at that and seeing how we can get student-to-student connectedness increased and really help them feel like they have a voice at school to lead what we're doing at the middle school. I also will be starting a student advisory committee this year. That's something, as we go through different things, like our assignment journal rewards and our field trips, I really want to get student input and student voice. We've found that some of our things, that our trips that we do, our rewards that we do, maybe our students aren't really buying into as much as they once did, and so I want their voice and their input on how we can keep those things fresh and really keep them as good motivators for our students, instead of saying, well, we've done this for a few years, you should want to have ice cream. Well, maybe this group isn't motivated by ice cream. Maybe, they want a different treat instead, or a different celebration. So bringing in that student voice will be a big focus for me this year. And then again, continuing that goal that 100% of our students are going to be connected to an extra or co-curricular. That has been a mark that we have hit for the last few years. And so I just want to make sure that that continues, because we all know if you're in a sport, if you're in music, if you are involved in something at school, it just matters so much more to you, and it makes school a lot more fun. So we'll continue tracking that and make sure our kids are connected. The last piece is just making sure that we are continuing to know what we are teaching, what our students are supposed to be learning. And so in our Friday professional development times, our big focus is making sure that we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum where our standards are prioritized, our teachers know exactly what they are measuring for our students as far as learning, and that we're vertically aligned. This is work that has been ongoing over time, but as we've seen some shifts in personnel and departments turnover, we have to make sure that this is crystal clear as staffing changes. And so that's a huge focus for us this year, to make sure that those things are prioritized 5th through 8th grade, and that there's that alignment so that we know when a student moves from 5th grade to 6th grade, they have certain skills as a foundational learning, and then the 6th grade teacher can continue to build on that and so on all the way through their middle school careers. So every week when we meet in those Fridays, that'll be a huge focus for what our content teams are doing, and then our grade level teams will really focus on students that are struggling across the board within all of their contents, whether that be attendance, behavior, grades, missing work, all of those things that we'll track each week and make sure that we're supporting those students the best we know how. Any questions?
Are you guys still doing homework club?
Homework club, yep, this week's the first week, we're jumping in, so yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carmen.
Hi there. All right, so the high school still has two of the same 100% goals as we had last year. So the first one is that 100% of our graduates will graduate enrolled, enlisted, or employed. And really what we're looking at there is really still focusing on our DCAP work and our ICAP, so making sure that 100% of our students complete and are updating their ICAP this year. We were able to welcome Amy Harris, who's our new college and career transition counselor, to the building. She's with us Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So she's been meeting a lot with seniors and juniors already, and then working on their employment plans and what their plans are for graduation. She's also been meeting with them about FAFSA. She's sending home things to parents at this point, and she's got a couple of FAFSA nights throughout the year. We're also working on a career fair that'll be in November, and a college fair that will happen in the spring. So super excited to have those things. We have an increased amount of students that are participating in internships. I know some of your students are participating in some of those. So this trimester we have around 25. Second trimester we've got over 30. So looking forward to continuing to increase that. Part of leading that work in our student ICAPs or those individual career academic plans is just making sure our staff have the training they need as well. So our DCAP team is going to do a training just with K-Navigator here in the next couple of weeks, just to make sure that we all know what it has to offer, so that when we present that in our seminar time, that our seminar teachers are prepared to lead that work with students as well, so that we can track that for our kids over the course of the 4 years. Excuse me. Our second goal that we have is still by our 100% of our students participating in athletic activity or club. Last year we were able to add a couple things. This year we've added Key Club, which is connected to Kiwanis, so we've been meeting. They'll be helping at Kids Day this weekend. Also adding a chess club and a couple other things this year too. Mr. Courtwright's working on a passport for kids, just in attendance, to increase student attendance at athletics or music performances, even if they're not involved in those things. So looking at some different ways we can up that. And then big focus, so our new goal this year, our additional goal, is that 100% of our teachers will identify and prioritize essential standards for their courses, and will be able to clearly articulate the answer to that PLC question number 1, which is what do we want students to learn? So really our CLT leads are going to be leading that work. Our staff will make sure their IPDPs are directly connected to that. And then they'll all meet and make sure they've got their essential standards outlined in all of their courses, and making sure that we've got common formative assessments as well for those teachers who are teaching the same course as well. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to, again, publicly thank the 4 of you for your leadership and hard work. You know, aligning things to this broader picture can be challenging at times, but I know the teams that you've got in place are the right ones to do this work, and it'll be exciting to see, you know, where we end and celebrate along the way. So, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You can say if you want, but you don't have to.
Hold it against you. We'll move into our committee reports. Each committee chair would share a 2 to 3 minute update connected to their work. We can start with policy. Mark.
Hold up here, but we did meet a week and a half ago, something like that. Just went over several 700 series policies that were ready to be reviewed again. So nothing urgent on our list, so we went those. You'll see some of those on our agenda tonight. And then Evan and I are still working on a plan to get our full list updated from last leadership, to make sure we have everything updated that needs to be and reviewed at the right time. So working on some different things in the background to get a new list pulled and verified and double checked and ready to go, so we know where we're at. So I think that's it.
Ty, strategic planning.
Yeah, we met last Monday. The biggest thing was talking about the strategic planning document that is going to be on our table tonight. Just going over some of the feedback. You know, we've gone through several versions of this, and it's been an iterative process for months now, and yeah, getting to the point where finally have something to vote on, which is awesome. We went over the bond vote, the signatures. I believe we got all the signatures turned in. Yeah, just marketing strategy, new website going out, our plan for, you know, having our little town halls to get the information out for the bond vote, and, you know, working with our YES committee to make sure they've got all the facts and figures they need. And yeah, that's about it.
Great, thank you. Finance.
Okay, well, the Finance Committee met on September 8th, 2025, 8 a.m. And the first agenda item was to review the fiscal year 2025 financial health report. The committee reviewed and discussed the financial performance of the district, and the committee approved the report for presentation to the full board tonight. The second agenda item was the proposal for an hourly wage adjustments for FY 2027 and continuing into FY 2028 with a total outlay of $223,000. The purpose of the proposal was to bring the employee cost ratio from the current 72% to the target 75 to 80% in support of student success, as well as align wages and benefits with the district's mission and vision. Also, the adjustment would favorably compare Iowa local wages. The committee evaluated the effect on FY 2027 and FY 2028. The final health metrics under the current forecast assumptions, particularly the 80 student enrollment in kindergarten and the 2% SSA state funding. The FY 2027 UAB is projected to be 17% with a 17.5% solvency ratio. However, the FY 2028 UAB falls to 13% with a 9% solvency ratio. And the FY 2028 UAB falls outside of the strategic plan financial health metrics. After discussing the effect on FY 2028, the committee agreed to a ceiling of $223,000 to be allocated to the hourly workforce categories. The committee considered the $223,000 in investment in the workforce to provide a return of a higher degree of academic and student success, greater enrollment retention, with the possibility for an increase in alignment with the district's mission and vision statement. Additionally, the budget revenue and expense forecasts for FY 2028 are extremely variable. So we agreed to an upper bound of $223,000 to make adjustments to our hourly workforce. So that should be coming out in the future. So that's the report. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks. Christy, HR negotiations.
Yeah, we met a couple weeks ago. A lot of what we went over kind of ties in with what Dave was just talking about increasing rates for a lot of our hourly employees. I know Zach and Evan took the time to meet with a lot of the hourly staff and get a lot of feedback on, ways that we can make them feel, more included and more of a sense of belonging as part of our district. And so a lot of what we talked about revolved around that. And we all kind of agreed that, Fairfield right now is behind where we should be for our hourly employees, and that it is something that we need to address. Obviously, with our financial constraints, we were all concerned as to how we were going to do that, but Evan, had some good ideas and good plans, and I'll let him kind of speak more specifically to that, but that was the gist of our meeting, so.
Thanks. Mark.
Facilities, yes. So we met on September 5th at noon. Really just had a brief meeting. Primarily just met Matt Tyler for the first time, which I look forward to all you guys getting the chance to meet him. Had a great first impression with him, and sounds like he's hit the ground running and really getting the hang of the job. So I think he's off to a good start from what I'm seeing and hearing. The big thing that we went over is just the purchasing and bidding policy that we have. One of the big things I've really been pushing on them is just making sure we're doing our best to get, multiple bids on projects when possible. We have ran into some hiccups with that. One thing has been like the asphalt, for instance. A lot of people throughout the state don't have the ability to come this far, so we've really had our hands tied with that a little bit. But he is at least putting effort into trying to request bids from other locations. We also talked about the current transportation transitions. I don't know, I've gotten a few phone calls, you guys probably have as well. Obviously the hub is no longer there, so some people love it. There's been a few people that it's really been growing on them, but it sounds like things are getting better as the weeks progress. I look forward to seeing how that current transition continues to go. We also talked about the conclusion of all the current projects that we've done. The first thing was the lighting project at the high school. It sounds like that got finished, and it sounds like everyone's been pretty pleased with that so far. Also talked about the finished gym floor. I've received a lot of positive feedback on that. They also got the new tables at Pence that we talked about. So those tables at previous ones were not working real good for the staff there and the students, so they got those replaced. As some of you remember, they are getting new high school tables at the high school, but that is not going to likely be completed until Christmas break. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think the plan is to replace those tables at Christmas and then move those tables to the middle school. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yep.
So we won't have all the chairs and
Yep.
that have to be moved every day.
Yeah, perfect. Now, is that going to create any hardships for like the after school events, or the church on Sunday? I mean, are those easily fold up and get out of the way then? Yep. Okay, good. And then also talked about, there is a small issue, in the service department with the schools. We don't currently have a mechanic in the schools. Some of you guys remember our current mechanic took a job in our location, so unless something has changed, we don't currently have a mechanic there. So I think that's one of the voting items tonight. I think they sent an RFP to actually get the mechanic work done from area businesses in town here, and that's one thing I request is to do our best to try to keep that business in town if possible. So hopefully we can get the service that we need, and hopefully that will work at least until we get that position filled, or whatever we do there. I guess that's up to the district on how they want to handle that. So that was basically the extent of it, and yeah. So.
Great, thanks. All right, moving along, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Dave and Mark Thornton, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public participation. Do we
Did you
have
want
any?
to speak?
Okay. No public participation this evening. Move along to new business. 7.1, do I hear a motion to approve the 5-year strategic plan as presented?
So moved. Second.
Mark Porter and Ty Ward. So yeah, any discussion here? I know Ty brought this up and we have it all here, so looked at this a lot. But
This has been a long time coming. Do you have any
it's
thoughts, Zach?
nice.
No, I'm excited. There's been a lot of just input and reflection, adjustments to ensure that we've got what we want in there. And then, from an accountability standpoint, just making sure that, we do share at the board table, 3 times a year for sure, progress and what that looks like. We talked about that a little bit at strategic planning committee meeting as well. Like, what does that look like? What do we really want to make sure that we're getting to the board table so you feel like you have enough information to see whether or not we're making the right type of progress. So that'll continue to be a work in progress. Hopeful. We talked about this a little bit. Megan and I did just maybe at the October board meeting, that might be our first kind of just update as to where we're at some of these indicators. So I don't have a whole lot else. Thank you for your patience. I know that July when we were without power, we were ready to create and go right there, and just kind of put the brakes on it to make sure we had a lot of voices at the table to give us feedback. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, the document looks great. I think, the design of it and everything, you did a really good job, just making it pleasing to the eye. Good pictures.
Yeah, it's nice to talk about this also in light of the plans and from the principals tonight, and kind of hear that community input coming into their schools as well. That on the back page here, partnering together with our community. I think that is something that we really want to, in addition to all the student success that we've been talking about, but really bridge the community, bring them in. So it's nice to see it kind of all together in one evening. So yeah, thank you guys for everyone. The process, everyone everywhere on the process. It was definitely a group process.
Well, I think that I've been the biggest skeptic, so maybe I should eat some crow, which I'll be happy to do. I'm not a real fan of bottom-up strategic planning, because a lot of times things get watered down. I was pleasantly surprised, and I think that goes to Zach's leadership, and thanks to Ty and the committee, and the leadership team we have. I think that there's some really stretch goals here. I mean, when you put yourself out as wanting to be a destination district in the state of Iowa, that's, you're putting a marker down. We're all putting a marker down. And so I was very pleased with that. And yes, I think you can quibble about things and you know, definitions of mission and vision and all that stuff. I think that's just quibbling. I'm really happy with the outcome, particularly from our leadership team, and I'm anxious to participate. And now, destination district also means those of us on the school board have to be as good as the leadership team and as good as the people that we're governing. So now I have to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, what can I do better? So I hope we all do that and participate now to be competitive and to be that destination district, but also hold people accountable. We do need the reporting aspects of this, how we're going to report our progress and key metrics, so that's the next piece. But hats off to everyone, and you know, I was skeptical, but I was wrong. So
It's all part of the
pleasantly
process.
surprised,
Yeah.
pleasantly good to be wrong. So thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo your last statement there. There's some good call to actions here for accountability. And so I think as a board, we'll just have to kind of adapt to that as we get into the first few readouts to know what we can look at, what does it actually mean, to get that baseline so we can keep going and see that we're all in the right direction. Or if we're not, what do we need to adjust to re-steer the ship? So, good stuff.
Great. All right, so let's see, motion to approve as presented, all in favor? Opposed? Strategic plan is approved, thank you. 7.2, do I hear a motion to approve the year-end financial health report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Dave and Ty,
There is a presentation.
Yeah,
there is a presentation,
I asked-
I'm not surprised.
I asked Evan to create something just a little,
This is a 42-page document, so it's a lot of
an overview
for
and
the
capture
public, so.
for everybody, so.
Let's hear it.
Quiz
John, can you pull it up for me?
You got it.
Alright, you can go ahead to the next slide. Alright, so I just kind of wanted to start off by kind of reiterating what our board financial health goals are. So our unspent authorized budget ratio goal is to maintain the unspent authorized budget ratio within the 15 to 20% target range by closely monitoring budget expenditures throughout the fiscal year. So for those of you watching that don't know what unspent budget ratio is, it's kind of like our credit card. So every year they give us a credit card maximum limit of how much we can spend, and we want to carry over 15 to 20% of that from year to year. Our second board goal was solvency ratio, so kind of think cash. We want to maintain that between 15 to 20%. Why? If you have a credit card, you also need the cash to cover your credit card. So that's why those two goals are the same. And our last one was days net cash ratio, 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months worth of living. The main reason behind that board goal is during the month of July and August, we do not receive revenue as a school district, so we need to make sure we have a couple months of revenue in the bank to make payroll, pay bills, and other expenses that may come out. Go ahead and move forward, John.
And those are connected directly to board policy.
Connected to board policy and the strategic plan and many other places. So last year, or the last couple of years, we've had to make some very hard financial decisions, but in FY 2025, we saw some major improvement, but I want to take a moment to recognize the key contributors. So from our union representatives, we had Van and Crabtree, also known as Rusty Crabtree, Bruce Miller, Chris McCready, and through their network at CEA, they played a giant role in helping us work through our financial improvement. District representatives, we had insurance committee, there's probably 20, 21 of us that met when we were doing some insurance review, along with some work from the board there, to help us do some strategical, changes on the insurance side. Our administrators and directors, you all, who had to make some really tough decisions, our associate leaders or our associate mentor group. Last year we didn't have the mentors yet, but we had a pilot group or a group that really helped us through some of these financial decisions. And there's a lot of other district staff out there that provided feedback throughout the course. And then finally, our local banking partners, Iowa State Bank, Midwest One, but a special thanks to Carl Metcalf, Aaron Kness, Scott Willman, Dina Morrissey, Chrissy Grove, Ron Haynes, Wendy Anderson, and many more. As you guys know or don't know, in FY24, we had a struggle with balancing previous books that me and Zach were working through, and these bank partners really helped us get it all reconciled along with our auditors. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for their support. Next slide. So in the world of school finance, there's about a 10-point financial condition test ratio. So what you'll see on the board right now is FY 2023, FY 2024, and the far right column is FY 2025. Red is bad, orange is trending in the right direction, and green is good that we met metrics. So as you can see in FY 2024, there was a lot of red. And if you look at our 10 points that we measure for financial health as a school district, we're green across the board besides the employee cost ratio, which Dave highlighted briefly within his finance committee update. So we're aware of that, we're heading in the right direction. Previous year we were 64%, we're now 72%, so we're making progress, but there's still work to be done. Go ahead to the next one.
So having an employee cost ratio, what exactly is that, and how will you get that to improve?
Yeah, so I'll get back to that because I think it's at the end of the presentation, but if I don't answer it then, I'll go ahead and acknowledge that. So I just want to dive a little bit deeper into our board metrics. So days net cash ratio, we ended the year with $6,342,370 in the bank. You take that divided by our total expenditures to get our daily expenditures. So currently the district costs $57,931 per day to run. So if you divide that 57,000 by that 6 million, we get 109 days worth of cash in the bank at year end. Again, our goal is 90 to 120 days, so there's no corrective action needed at this time, and we met the board goal for the conclusion of FY 2025. Next slide, please. Financial solvency ratio. Again, the board goal is a minimum of 8%, but a target of 15 to 20%. As you can see, according to our balance sheet, and once you take in the formula, we ended the year at 17.23%. So we split the board goal right in the middle. So again, there's no corrective action needed, and we met the board goal. Next one, unspent balance component. So there's two parts to this, but as a board, we really measure the regular program unspent, authorized budget, or unspent balance. There's multiple phrases for that. So that's the orange column, yellow column. I'm colorblind, so if I said that wrong, I don't know what I color coded it. But we ended the year at 18.38%. So think back to the previous slide. We had 17% cash or solvency, 18% credit. They almost mirror each other. It's about as close as you can get in prediction. But the question we do get, or what you'll see on the state websites, is they also include the categorical unspent authorized budget, which is 1.92%, or a total UAB of 20%. That categorical portion is restricted funds, which means it's locked in or tied into very specific items. So it's not free money to use on everything. So that's why we back it out. So an example of a categorical fund would be like our preschool programming. You have to use that on preschool. So we don't want to include that into our overall financial picture because it has to be used on preschool. That's just how the laws ran. Again, the board target was 15 to 20%. We're at 18.38. There's no corrective action, and we met this board goal. Go ahead on to the next slide. Kind of new this year. I kind of want to paint a picture, some by request, but also some by kind of tying it back to that employee cost ratio, is our wage distribution. So in a public school setting, our funding should be about 75 to 82% of our cash or our money should be going to staffing. We're a labor-intensive business. Our business model is people. But what this wage distribution does is it breaks it down by sector of how much of our 15 million of this portion of the general fund is going to each different sector of employees that we employ. So on the far right, you'll see where we were at FY '24. We were at 56.3% for teachers. We increased to 60.9%. We really want to see that around 65%. Paraeducators were at 14. This past year we're at 14.3. That's a fluctuation that I expect to see because every year our para needs are different because they're tied to those special education minutes, as you know. So we probably had 1 or 2 more paras last year than we probably did in FY '24. So that's why it fluctuated. Administrators, we went from 10% in FY '24 to 8.7% in FY '25. Why was there a drop there? Well, now we're seeing the work of the budget reduction 2 years ago. I know we did another one last year, but we should see that at year end. So now we're starting to see the ties of the work that had taken place a couple years ago. And then we can keep going down. Custodial decreased. We did a bunch of decentralization of some of that staff and get more money back towards our frontline workers. You can call that our teachers and our paraeducators. But this was the breakdown percentage of what each group got out of the 15.3 million spent on wages last year.
And that 15.3 million equates to the 72.44% on that, when you ask that question, of the total general fund dollars. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So let's jump into the next slide. So every financial health report isn't complete, in my opinion, without next steps or key indicators or what we're going to do move forward, or our thought process that might come to this table at some point. So teacher salary distribution, I already highlighted this, but increased from 56.3% in FY '24 to 60.9% in FY '25, 4.6% increase. That's nice to see, but our goal is still 65% by FY '27. We're making progress because if you remember, we also approved a 4 or 5 year agreement with our union last year that completely overhauled their contract system. So we're in year 1 of that implementation. FY '27 is going to be year 2 of that implementation, and hopefully that gets us closer to that 65% goal or slightly above.
It will. Not hopefully, it should.
It should.
Wholeheartedly. Yeah.
A fun fact I want to throw in there when you're thinking about making wage adjustments or wage moves is we started tracking staff retention rate last year. So the first year we came in, Zach and I came in and started working together. We were about 72%. This past year we're projected to come out about 82%. So we saw about a 10% increase in retention of our staff. Again, we'd like to probably see that closer to the 90, if not 100%, because we want 100% of our people to belong. But 10% growth is something I think to celebrate of holding staff within place. Back to Mark's point on the employee cost ratio, we're at 64.55% FY '24, 72.44% FY '25. We're trending in the right direction, but we're still short of that target range, which is why it's orange. Trending the right way, but we did not meet the green indicator.
And kind of what Chrissy was alluding to with the HR negotiations committee, that's definitely going to be something that we're looking at from the hourly wage standpoint, where those gaps are, and then also our extra service contract for all of our coaches or sponsors to really reimagine or redesign what that looks like. So we're again one of the highest, I would say, paid within the area if we want to meet what our vision is moving forward. So
last slide. I think Zach just alluded to a lot of this. So how are we going to address some of these slight shortfalls in our target range? Continue the phased implementation of the teacher contract. Hoping to revise the hourly wage structure. The finance committee set our boundary or our governance line, so we have $223,000 to work with. Now Zach and I will go to work meeting with all those individual groups and through the HR negotiations committee, trying to develop what that overall package looks like. Part of the contract last year was enhancing extracurricular and extra duty compensation. So we're going to start that work maybe month end, start in October. So we'll be meeting with our union representatives and see which direction we go with that. We're going to align the FY '26 budget with ongoing improvements in staffing indicators, and we're going to monitor employee cost ratio to ensure sustainable growth. So that's going back into making sure we're green in a lot of areas, but we've got to make sure it's sustainable for years to come. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of that 41-page document that you guys are looking at to approve, but just really want to take a moment to highlight the main board indicators, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer now. And you could probably go to the last slide, John. and it will be posted on the website as soon as it's approved, so.
Thank you. It's really
I'd
good.
just like to make a comment from the finance chair perspective. I really think that, I'd really like to thank Evan and Zach, particularly Evan. We have an outstanding, very competent budget officer, CFO, that's got us to this point. And from where we were, if you see in FY '24 and after our $2.4 million adjustment in the general fund, we've reached financial health, and it's become really a strength of our district. And we need to sustain it, but I think that we can now start making the compensation adjustments that need to be made to help our belonging goals and to help our becoming that destination district that we have. So I just want to thank them publicly for their work, and it's been fun working with them in this finance space.
And I'll second everything he said too. It's been, you know, quite the ride to watch you guys, you know, work and clean this up and, you know, get us to the point where we're at, which is amazing. You know, a lot of hard work by you guys, administrators, everybody. A lot of hard work by the board also. Thank you, everybody. You know, the last couple of years, all the reductions we've done. This is why we did it. You know, we're in the green on a bunch of stuff. So kudos, everybody. We set the ship on a good path. So it's awesome.
I'll echo that as well. You know, for me and Ty have been on here for, you know, basically 4 years now or whatever. It's this is kind of an area where we were really lacking a few years ago. To see us getting to this point is really pleasing for me to see. So hopefully we can continue it, and hopefully this will be a good big step in the right direction towards getting the ship righted. You know, so I think we're headed in the right direction specifically here. So that's great. So.
And I'd just like to say lastly, one last thing, is that I think for our taxpayers, who I consider our investors, using a private sector term, I think that this can show them that we are good stewards of their taxpayer dollars. That's all of our goals. And that now with the other part of our student success goals, they'll get a return on that investment. But this shows that we are being good stewards of their taxpayers.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I just like to say thanks, Dave, for coming along with these guys and using your expertise. I've been ahead of other other committees, and you know, you guys are always talking shop of what's next in finance. So I think it's been good to have that good team bonding and learning off each other, and obviously from the result it's paying off. So thanks a lot.
I'd just add too, like, to be able to see that dramatic of a difference in such a short period of time, you know, in the grand scheme of things is really impressive. So that really is a testament to how much hard work you guys have put in, and obviously it's paying off. And so hopefully, you know, we'll start seeing the fruits of all of these labors in our enrollment numbers and things like that, which will further help this mission. So.
Great, thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.3, do I hear a motion to approve the request for allowable growth and supplemental aid for the special education deficit in the amount of $830,630.80?
So moved.
Second.
Dave and Mark Thornton. Any discussion? Any questions?
Does everyone remember what this is for? Yeah, so every year, there's one category of school funding that you're allowed to go in the red for, and it's special education. So you can't predict the needs of our special education students real time. And there historically is always a shortfall in every school district. So what this allows us to do as a district is go back before the school budget review committee and ask for more of that unspent authorized budget. You guys do have the ability to say no to this item. It will change that UAB indicator that we just presented or approved. previously. How do we get the funds back for this? This is what's showing up on what's now become a more sustainable or stable tax levy. So that $12.11, and then now $12.73 is allowing us to cover our special education needs or our most vulnerable population. But you guys have to approve our request to go before the school budget review committee and get that additional authority to support those kiddos.
If we didn't, I mean, obviously, I mean, if we denied that, what would that do to you guys? Just so everyone understands that.
We'd probably see a 4% sway in our UAB, so we'd fall below our board metrics. Then we'd have to come back with probably some sort of financial recommendation to make sure. I mean, it's probably an $830,000 cut to make sure we sustain that. Individualized education plans are law; we have to abide by it. So,
To put you guys in a pretty big bind.
Yeah, it wouldn't be ideal.
290 school districts run a deficit. So,
Out of the 331 or whatever it is.
All right, any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to board policies at the first reading.
we have 7.4.
Oh, I'm sorry, I scrolled too fast, thanks. 7.4, do I hear a motion to approve the resolution ordering an election on the issuance of 39,500,000 general obligation school board bonds?
So moved.
Second.
All right,
We'll need to do this by roll call.
okay.
And the documents in here.
Any discussion before we vote?
Yes, so there are several things that I need to highlight for you guys before we do this roll call vote. Now that we have a motion and a second. So this petition was submitted to you guys. It's all right here. Would anyone like to review all the signatures? All right. So if you don't want to look through all the signatures, what I plan on certifying and pending your guys' approval is we know in the last election there was 2,993 eligible voters that turned out. So that'd been the November 2023
The last school board election.
school board election. We need 25% of that last election number and signatures for a petition to be eligible to put another issue on the ballot. So we needed 748 signatures. We received about 958 of them after our preliminary walkthrough by myself as board secretary. I think 860 of them are eligible. Again, the auditor, the city or the county auditor has final say in that, but I do think we have enough signatures to turn this in to the auditor probably tomorrow morning if you guys pass it. The request would be this would take place by a roll call vote. And any other questions amongst that?
Do we have the wording that's gonna be on there yet?
On the ballot?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's right.
So it would be, shall the Board of Directors of the Fairfield Community School District in the counties of Jefferson, Henry, Van Buren, Wapello, and Washington, state of Iowa, be authorized to contract indebtedness and issue general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $39,500,000 to provide funds to build, furnish, and equip a new middle school building, including site improvements. So that's exactly what you would see on the ballot, because that is what the petition was circulated for.
Any other questions? All right, we have a roll call vote, please?
Yep, Mark Porter,
Yes.
Ty Ward,
Yes.
Chrissy Kessel,
Yes.
Megan Dow Robbins,
Yes.
Mark Thornton,
Yes.
Dave Eastburn.
Yes.
Deborah Williamson is absent.
All right, motion carries. Sorry, 1 second. All right, moving on to 7.5. Do I hear a motion to approve the board policies at the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Mark Porter and Dave Eastburn. Discussion here. It's first reading, 700 series, Mark.
Is there an overview of what the 700 series is for people?
It is a lot of finance, like cash. and
Cash
debt.
management, debt management, debt policy.
And there really wasn't a lot. The only one I would call out, we did change to option 2, which is just different wording. I'm trying to find which one that is. That was the biggest change for the most part. Some of these are really long.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one that we did call out was we added another Iowa code, 296.1, just to reference that it's tied to that as well. The 704.3 is the one that we're switching to, option 1. We had option 2, I believe, which is all for investments. And again, for the most part, that's just all wording, lingo, kind of some different phrases that we thought would meet our expectations. If you haven't got to them, you can read through them again. If you have specific questions, let us know.
It's pretty wonky. It's not easy reading.
It is not. We're trying to figure out how to best present it, but it's one of those, if we just give it to you straight, it's hard to know what actually changed, but at the end it's hard to read it if it's all together. So maybe next time we'll just give you both and let you figure out which one is best.
Yeah, it could even just be what we are, what the policy committee says, what we wanna do, and that's what we're presenting, is just the new policy, whether it's the same, different, or whatever, this is what we've kind of identified. So then it may be a little bit easier, I don't know.
I like to see how they change, though.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we'll do both. We'll get a finalized one that's straight up, this is what we're bringing to you to approve, and then the other one is, if you wanna go look and see which changes, it'll be some of this red line throughs. Yeah, we can take that back.
I appreciate you guys going through all these wonky 700 series.
Some of us enjoy it.
All right, so there's a motion to approve these board policies at the first reading on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.6, do I hear a motion to approve the contracts as presented for transportation maintenance contracts with local vendors?
So move.
Second.
Mark and Mark. And this is what you were speaking to earlier with the transportation.
And Zach and Evan, so basically is Smithburg just gonna be for the fleet of vehicles, and then Iowa Repair is gonna be for the buses? Is that kind of what this is looking like?
Correct, so we had Matt Tyler, our new director of operations, release about 4 or 5 RFPs out there. We've received these 2. So, Smithburg only has the capacity to do our non-fleet vehicles, so that's everything, not buses, that's our burbs, all that stuff. And then Iowa Repair had good reference checks. They currently do Pekin and Cardinal, but they have all the equipment to make sure we're compliant with the federal DOT standards, so they'll service our buses.
So do they think they can take that on comfortably, take on our fleet of buses and get stuff done timely?
I mean, they put in their RFP like within a timely, they gave us kind of their time frame, so I mean, we understand how turnaround works, but they submitted bids, so I say yes, they felt capable of taking on some of our buses.
What do you guys have for spare buses if you do have a couple buses going?
Yeah, so we're running 12 route buses, but we have currently 15 in our fleet, so we have about 2 spare buses, you would call that. One's a special education bus, or mainly used for also activities.
Yep.
So currently we actually have 2 buses, well, one just came back, but we had 2 buses in the shop last week, so we just were able to swap them out.
Do you guys have a backup plan if you would happen to go over that two reserve bus limit?
We've had to do that a little bit, either due to driver shortage or something else. We run vans.
Okay.
So a lot of our buses with our new transportation system, or our new routing, or how we're just implementing it. Some of our buses have less counts on them because they're not trying to support 70 kids.
Yep.
Some will have 20 to 30 kids. So we, thankfully, the maintenance guys volunteered a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, and they just took a van and just loaded up those kids on those 2 vans and got them home. Not ideal, but
Yeah, and it's,
it
I mean,
works out.
volunteered, but they're also compensated for that as well, in addition to what their, their role is, in the maintenance department. The other piece of this is we're not gonna stop, actively trying to get a mechanic, so if we can get one that's, qualified and within kind of the scope of what we're able to pay, then we'll definitely continue to go that route, I think, just from a support standpoint.
Yeah. If we do this contract all year, do we have an estimated total budget for it?
Yeah, so if we just taking the brief math of all servicing all the vehicles, it's about 20,000. If it crosses the $2,500 threshold, it does become PEPAL eligible. So it is actually a little bit of a. It could be potentially be a little bit of a savings. So if you think about a mechanic, they come out of the general fund. Some of these repairs, depending on what they are, can come out of the PEPAL fund. So it might actually free up our general fund.
Yeah,
13 to 20.
most definitely be a savings on the general fund side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But they said federal compliance, 650 a bus, so just do the math times 15 buses, assuming body repair, broken windows, major engine things. I mean, things happen from year to year, but
When we have a mechanic, are they typically full-time?
they are.
They have been historically.
Yep.
And that 20,000 is service related, you expect, and not like parts and such, or?
So when I say service related, so these contracts are mainly for the routine kind of maintenance. These are the oil changes, the light replacements, the fluid checks, everything that you need to pass the federal DOT inspection. We do still have some RFPs out there with some local vendors for our big body,
The body work.
like the body work, and
Which we
tires.
that
things
went
like
out anyway when we had a mechanic. We didn't do that in-house.
So.
And we retain the right in these to do any repairs that we want internally too, so it's not like,
Correct.
Correct, so it wasn't guaranteed that we're gonna take every bus there, so some examples, Matt's hopped over a bus and has done oil and changed a couple of light bulbs already. It's just based off skill set. But we are gearing up for a inspection October 6th, so there's a couple of buses rotating in and out as well.
okay.
In both of these, look at the second one real quick. Let's call out that they're for the basically a calendar year, right?
Our 1-year agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.7. Do I hear a motion to move the March 16th, 2026 regular meeting to March 23rd, 2026?
So it's not back a week, it's up a week.
Because there's a conflict with spring break, correct?
Maybe from the 16th to the 23rd, or the 23rd to the 16th.
16th to the 23rd.
16th to the 23rd.
So it'll be the 16th is spring break, so.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks.
Now discussion.
Now the discussion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.8, do I hear a motion to approve the transfer of the homeschool assistance funds in the amount of $54,666.05 to the board flex fund as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Ty and Christie?
I just want to make sure for the record, for the public, that the homeschool assistance program is fully funded. And we have the intent of keeping 25,000 in that for a margin of safety,
Correct.
For resources that they would need, yep.
for resources that they need.
Yep.
Okay,
And you can always transfer this money back.
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's it for new business. Moving on to superintendent updates.
Yeah, obviously about a month in to school and a lot of positive things happening in all 4 buildings. I've been in all of them many times, been on buses. Overall, again, the atmosphere and the vibe is very positive, so I'm thankful for that. Our administrators, I'm meeting with them this week in our weekly one-on-ones to look at their PD plans, their professional development plans, their leadership goals connected to how they're gonna ensure that their plan on a page is operationalized to the fullest. I'll be doing the same thing with Megan and then sharing that with the board, with the expectation that we have some type of mid-year review again in December or January connected to that for me, and just my leadership. SIAC, our first meeting of this year is next week, 6:30. It'll be at the middle school. Part of that SIAC meeting will be going over our strategic plan, some of the feedback that they gave us at our last meeting before the break, before summer, and then we'll kind of move into our first forum just connected to the middle school bond. So some of them may stay, some of them may go, but that'll be next Monday. I've been kind of alluded to this already, number of signatures, so we'll move forward with our press release and make sure that we get all the information out to the people within the system, so our staff, our families, parents, but then also we're going to do a mass communication to all residents within the district as well with that information, so they'll have it again. Be on the lookout. The Iowa School Performance Profile should be released within a week, I'm guessing. Some of the information was embargoed and sent to superintendents, so we were able to take a peek at that. But it should become public within the next week. So a lot of positives that will come out of that when we get it. We had about 190 responses from our parents regarding the first week of school. Again, I've reviewed that with building principals, looked at things that we can tweak or change specific to just the start of school. It was right at 50-50 in regards to like literally 49 to 51 with back to school nights being on the same night or different nights. So either way we go next year, it'll be okay. So yeah, and once I get I would say a little bit firmer kind of enrollment number, I'll push that out so you kind of see where we think we're at from a number standpoint. But obviously we won't know the official certified enrollment until after October, where the funding is connected. So yeah, that's all I've got.
Great, thanks.
I just had a question.
Yep.
I know you've been spending a lot of time on the busing and the new routes and all of that, and there was a lot of complaints in the beginning.
Yeah.
Has that gotten better? Do we feel like we have it?
Yeah, from a logistical standpoint, the mornings are great. Now that people have figured out kind of the drop-off piece, that hasn't been an issue. There's still some things in the afternoon that we need to tweak. We've been adjusting times, but I think one of the things we talked about today actually with Matt was adding from Washington right now, when everybody leaves, that's really smooth, but we have too much idle time at the middle school in Pence. And so we're thinking about potentially switching and having buses go right from Washington to the high school, because they get out at 3:17. The buses at Washington load at 3:14. They'd all be able to get over there, and kids would maybe have to wait for 5 minutes. The worry is making sure that we can get those 12 buses then to 6 at the middle school and 6 at Pence by 3:28 is the time that they need to be there. We're going to do it just without anybody else during the day, just to see what time looks like. But I don't know when we're gonna actually try to do that like officially, but that's one big thing I think that will help significantly with some of the wait time. So yeah, and just so everyone knows too, like the amount of minutes a student can be on a bus, it only counts it when the bus is moving. So when the buses are sitting waiting at the school, that doesn't count. I don't know why Iowa code reads that way, but that's what it does. But we definitely have seen a huge decrease in the number of behaviors, so that's been a positive thing for sure on the buses.
Now when the bus is doing like drop-offs at other schools and homes and all that, how does that work? Does that count towards the travel time or not?
When they stop at a home?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, like the minute that it probably takes 30 seconds for the door to open.
You guys are factoring as travel time.
We are.
Yeah.
The only thing we're not is when they're at buildings waiting.
But as of right now, all buses are staying within that hour.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's an hour and
15.
right? 75 minutes.
So what's the absolute maximum that a child is having to stay on the bus right now?
That probably
75 minutes. Okay.
just under. Yeah, the other thing we had talked about is really rerouting to see if the system can reroute it better than what we've always done, just based on what history has been. So we have a system, but I'm not sure that it has fully been utilized to route the most efficient or effective way. And partly because, you know, we have drivers that they keep the buses at their homes, which is a nice perk to have. And so we haven't really pushed too hard through that either.
Now, like, in the part of the county that I live in, or there was like a key bridge that was just opened
Reopened.
back up. That
Yep.
probably helped you guys out a little bit, I would assume.
A little bit. The one that's really hard is the Pleasant Plain route.
Yeah.
That's one that takes a while. There's a fair amount of stops.
Yep.
But from a complaint standpoint, yeah, there hasn't been any the last couple weeks.
Okay, good.
So.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move into highlights. Christy, you wanna start?
Sure. I would just say that to see how far we've come, just even from the beginning of last year to this year, and seeing, you know, our leadership team here and just the cohesiveness, and, you know, then the tie-in with our strategic plan, like, it just really feels like we are moving together as a group, and like, we're really starting to see that momentum of moving forward, and then, you know, tying that in with the significant improvement from a financial standpoint. I mean, just, I think we have a lot to celebrate, so.
All right, no one else say that one.
Took everything.
Dave.
Okay, thanks, Mimi. I thought that I enjoy watching the leadership team we have, but also doing, one of our values is collaboration. And creating a coherent and cohesive academic performance is absolutely critical, something we haven't had. And I know we're using different curriculum at different buildings. Maybe that'll get sorted out in the future. But at least with you know, collaboration particularly between Penn and Washington, I think that a cohesive program is being developed. So that's a big highlight for me. And I just appreciate the leaders we have, and the support and Evan's knowledge, and I'm looking forward to being competitive instead of constantly retrenching. And I think that's going to be fun to watch. And like I said, if I'm going to participate in this, I gotta look at myself in the mirror and be as good as the people that we have now. So that's my challenge.
Thanks, Dave. Mark?
I'm gonna probably echo everything that they just said. You know, first and foremost, it's been really fun to watch the strategic plan come to fruition. I mean, pretty much, you know, watching Zach do his thing and lead by example. It's been really fun to watch the leaders from all four of our buildings come in and basically echo a lot of the things that the strategic plan was emphasizing, and watch it come, you know, happen in the actual buildings. So. The other thing is, you know, the financial health report. You know, the first several years we were on this board, you know, it's that was a very sore subject on this board, and to watch that improve the last couple of years has been fantastic. To see Evan come in and do the work that he has done, and then having Dave on the board has been a terrific addition. You know, like I said, he's been able to, you know, dive into things that previous board members were not able to effectively do, and that's been great. So, and I really appreciate that, and having his 40 plus years of expertise in the banking industry and finance world has been a great addition. So it's been a really fun several years on the board, and I really look forward to seeing what the future of the district has. So it's going to be fun moving forward. So
Thanks. Mark?
Did almost all of it. Lots of cool things in this meeting with from everybody else just mentioned of all the cool things moving in the right direction, including our vote for the bond and getting all those signatures. So good job to everybody for chowing down the last couple weeks, making sure we found enough. So cool things on the horizon.
Yeah, Ty.
Yeah, just so I don't repeat everybody, I would just, to sum up, I would just say that all of these things are kind of under the heading of investments. We've been making a lot of investments in our district. We've been doing cuts so that we could have money to do more things. You know, we've been doing, you know, these bonds so that we can free up more funds for more teachers. You know, we're not spending $1 million per year for buildings. We're trying to invest and make this a really great district. We've invested a lot in some really good people, and I think that's what we've heard a lot tonight, which is awesome just to watch these investments actually start to pay off. So yeah, it's always great to watch your investments grow, and I think we're doing that right now.
Yeah, I remember when I first came on as a board member, I was kind of like, well, what are the goals? What's the plan? What do I need to know? And there just really wasn't much of anything at that. It was a big transition time, you know. That's just what it was, you know. And now I feel like we've got it finally. It's really exciting to see it here. I feel like the foundation is really strong, and we needed that. And I'm really looking forward to, you know, all the things that the principals, the leaders said in terms of the students learning to invest in themselves, you know, and that student success. I think that's obviously the next big, you know, metrics that we'll be looking at, and I'm really excited to see that take shape. So thank you, Evan, thank you, Zach, and everybody. It's feeling really good right now. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Mark and Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks.